Hey there, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to this week's episode where we're going to be talking about using challenges for your online fitness business, and more specifically, how to use challenges in order to convert leads into paying clients. That's what we're going to be digging into today. Not only are we going to be going through kind of why challenge is important, and I'm saying challenges in inverted commas for a reason, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. We're also going to look about how to go and set this up as well within PT Distinction. So we're going to be opening up the second screen, and we're going to be digging into that in just a moment as well. But first of all, let's just talk about challenges themselves and what I want to share with you today and where kind of this data has come from. I think that's the most important thing here. I just don't want to sit here and say, this is the way I've done it, this is the way you should be doing it, because I think as coaches, especially in the fitness industry, we know that stuff doesn't work. How many times could you just say to a client, oh, this is what I did, it worked for me, so it's going to work for you? Maybe one out of every 50 clients that I probably work for. You have to change things, adapt things, and adjust things. And you'll find, though, that sometimes it's averages when you work with clients. And those averages kind of give you a curriculum you can start from, and then you adapt and adjust it to suit the need of those clients and the results and stuff that they want. Now, when it comes to challenges, I've kind of done the same thing with my business. So this challenge, this structure I'm about to give today, about to show you today, is not based on just my experience. What it's based on is working with thousands of personal trainers through the Peter Distinction Masterclasses and the Done For You service. And those different services allowed us to look at the data of those businesses, see what things they had in common, see what things they were doing that worked for those businesses and maybe worked against those businesses. So we got to see what worked well and what didn't work so well. And we've used that data, as many people who have followed me for years would know, to develop our services. So our Done For You service is based around that, our academy is based around that, and it still is today based on the data that we collect from the clients that we actually go and work with, and we use that to guide everything. So we're very data driven. So it's not just my experience, it's data driven. And it's that data that I'm going to share with you today around challenges and how you can actually go and use them. And the first thing we want to be looking at is really, well, why a challenge, I guess, is the first thing. And why am I saying it's a challenge like this? Well, the reason I'm saying it's a challenge like this is because you don't really want to be saying that to your clients. You don't want to say, let's go and do a challenge. It's very old hat and it can have different connotations. It can mean different things. So, really, a challenge is just a terminology, just like we might say, let's set up a lead magnet. You wouldn't say to your clients, go and download my lead magnet. You'd say, go and download my 5 steps to X, Y, and Z. And that's the same thing here. You're not going to go and say, go and download my challenge. You're going to name it something else. And the whole idea of this challenge is to help them really, from a name perspective, it's got to stand out to their audience. It's got to go, well, actually, this is going to help me solve a very particular problem. And I think that's the first place you need to start with this. Don't just go and say, I'm going to go and do a 5-day challenge, 10-day challenge, 6-week challenge, whatever it is. What you're going to do is go, well, actually, what is the number one thing that I can try and solve for this client? And can I solve that within a certain period of time, or at least some of that in a certain period of time? So that's the first thing you want to be looking at. In order to do that, you need to really understand who your niche is, your avatar is, and your market is, and understand what is the actual problem that you're going to solve for those potential clients. So that's the first thing you want to be doing when it comes to coming up with this, because we don't want to be naming it a challenge. You want to think about how we can rename this into something that's going to make sense to your audience. That's the most important thing. The next thing we need to look at is where the challenge actually fits in the overall picture. And I think this is something that many new online fitness businesses, new online fitness coaches, personal trainers, so on, forget to do. We need to remember that we are not just personal trainers and coaches now. We are business owners, which means we have lots of different hats that we have to wear. One of those hats is to be a marketer and a salesperson. So when we're thinking about the different things that we offer, we can't just start pulling them out of the air thinking, oh, let's go and just do this because I've seen somebody else do this, or that seemed to work well for this person. No, we can't do that. We need to be strategic about this. And in order to be strategic, we need to understand why we are doing certain things. And when it comes to a challenge, one of the best places to use this is to actually convert existing leads. Is to help take people that already know who you are, have some level of know, like, and trust with you, and then offer them something to convert them. So these are people that maybe come through a lead magnet already, that maybe engage with you on your social media profiles, and maybe part of a community group that you have, maybe a school group or a Facebook group or something along those lines. Maybe they're on your email list, whatever it is. There are people that have already shown a level of interest. Yet for some reason, they've gone through your process, and I'm going on here and assuming that you actually have a follow-up process for this. You know, if someone joins a lead magnet or your email list, there should be some indoctrination series that helps build up that relationship with them and move them into your paid programs. If you haven't got that in place, you should stop watching this video now, go and check out one of my other videos where we talk about how to put this stuff in place, and go and do that first. Because unless you've got those things in place first, they're going to be the biggest movers for your business. You need to have these things in place, these follow-up automations, these sequences, these processes. So go and get this done first, and then come back to this video and then look at using the challenge. This really is for people that have gone through that process, and for some reason they kind of sat on the fence and they haven't yet decided to make that move and purchase from you. So that's who we want to be aiming at here, and that's where we want to be offering this challenge to. And that's really where it's going to sit within what we call, some terrible with names, the super system. So the super system is a very basic process. It's a very simple funnel, for want of a better word, that you can use in your business. And if you are new to online training, even if you've been in it for years, we don't have to try and recreate all these complex, complicated funnels that some of these big businesses have. The majority of people that I think, or at least we work with anyway, are only really looking for businesses that do kind of 5 to 10,000 a month, that kind of price point. And I think in reality, you don't need to be doing these big, complicated, complex things. You just need very simple stuff. Will allow you to live a very happy life, a very comfortable life. It will help you pay for your mortgage quite comfortably, give you a nice house, be able to go away on holiday for a few times a year and enjoy it, spend time with your family, build up a pension, and actually retire someday. You can do that without having all these crazy, complicated things. You just need simple stuff. And we use a super system because it is simple and it can be implemented. And interestingly enough, this same system has been used for achieve 5-figure businesses, 6-figure businesses, and 7-figure businesses. The same principle is still there, even huge businesses. So what does this super system look like? Well, in order to understand where the challenge fits into it, you need to understand what the super system looks like. Very, very simple. It is a lead magnet at the front end. Normally you have 2 types of lead magnets that we tend to focus on. At least that's what we talk about with the Done For You service that we run, and also in our academy too, where we have a awareness lead magnet to get people aware they exist. We then have a consideration lead magnet that helps people who are basically kind of signed up and aware it exists now, converts them into a paying client. And we use like a 5-day mini series. That's what we kind of recommend, with all the email sequences and processes in between those to nurture them too. And then the idea is from those lead magnets, we move them into your flagship program. So that's the next stage of the super system. Now, this is normally somewhere between sort of a 6 to maybe 16-week or 12-week, 10-week, 8-week type program. And it's a fixed length one. The idea here, again, is to offer them something at a fixed price with a fixed result. It's designed to help them solve a problem for your avatar that helps then build up even more of a relationship with them to eventually convert them into the last part of the super system, which is an ongoing subscription membership. Because in reality, most income is made from the retention of your clients in that long term. So what you're trying to do there is get them into this back end offer, this subscription membership. That's what you're aiming to try and do, and that's what the super system does. However, there's always a stage where people come for those lead magnets and they don't go and sign up into your flagship program. It'd be ideal if everyone did, but they don't. So what we can do is we offer a challenge to those lead magnets, to people that are signed up to those lead magnets, so email lists and so on. And that's where the challenge tends to go, and it helps convert them into that next level. So there's a number of things we need to do in order to make sure that works effectively. And one of the best things we can do with these challenges is to have that extra level of interaction with you. So what we normally say is we want to try and keep these challenges relatively short. We think about the main aim here, which is to convert them. So we're trying to convert them into a bigger paying client over here. So we don't want too long a challenge. We find that somewhere around sort of like 5 to 10 days is the sweet spot for these kind of challenges because we want to keep momentum up. We also find that running these in cohorts works better. So more than offering challenges all the time in an evergreen format, you can run them 5-6 times a year, something like that. You can do them at specific times as well, times that you know people are interested in doing stuff. So it's a better time to convert them. Like summer's coming up, let's do a summer-based challenge. Black Friday, let's do a Black Friday-based challenge. And you can use these different events where people are paying attention, more willing to spend, more willing to, or wanting a need to come and sign up again. This will depend on your avatar, your niche, and your market. Depending on what it is, you want to go and offer these out to them. And you offer them out by offering them to people that sign up to your lead bank, your email list, socials, so on. And by keeping this short, we can build up that momentum. And by doing the cohort, what that actually means is you can make the offers to them. People can sign up and they can register. We can build up some hype as they've registered. And then what you can do is you can start them all at the same time and you can finish them all at the same time. And because you're doing that, it means you can actually have more interaction with them in a kind of group format. It means they're all doing the same kind of things as they go throughout that particular challenge. And then you can interact with them in a group way. So it allows them to get to know you a little bit better, have a bit more of a personal touch. I would actually do live things in there too. You can do live Zoom calls or Google Meets or live streams, whatever you want to do it. Because again, the aim is to help build up that relationship. Because at the end of the day, sales is about relationships. The more of that relationship you can build, the more level that and trust they'll have, the more likely are them to go and actually pay for your services and sign up and start working with you. So you want to really build that relationship. So having these kind of live events will help. And by doing it in a group format, it gives you the opportunity to speak from one to many. So it doesn't take up too much of your time. And in fact, you can actually run this roughly, this whole challenge with the right kind of systems in place, especially using Peak Distinction, which I'll show you, easily within 60 minutes. And that for like an entire week or 10 days. 60 minutes over that time will easily allow you to manage those clients, look after them, do some live events, and help convert them into paying clients. So that's the kind of thing you want to be doing with that. And the final thing I think we need to talk about before we look at how we're going to go and set this up is, do you charge for this or not? This is a big question I get asked. And the honest answer is it does kind of depend, but the data leans more towards yes. Because again, what you want to try and do here is move your lead down a few stages. What you're trying to do is move them a stage through these funnels. So we've already got them as a lead over here. They haven't paid anything yet. So what we can do is get them to pay something, even if it's just a small amount. So the idea of the challenge is not to make a profit necessarily, but you can use it to make a little bit of income and to really help them become a client. Because if someone's just paying, even if it's just $1 or £7 or whatever it is, or 30 quid, whatever the amount is, if they're paying the small amount, yes, it's not going to do any real difference to your business at the end of the day. Sure, it might cover some of your acquisition costs that it took you to bring those leads in, which would be great if it does that. But primarily what it's doing is it's helping them go, well, actually now I'm a paying client. I've trusted you with a little bit of my money. I've trusted you with my card details. So they're more likely to pay attention to it. And then they're more likely to then actually sign up into your paid program because they've already paid a little bit already. So there's lots of different ways we can go about this, but that's kind of the best way I look about it. I'd say keep it short, maybe 10 days. I'd run it as cohorts, offer it 5-6 times a year, and I'd offer it as a paid challenge as well. And I'd make sure we do some group interaction stuff in there too to help build and nurture them. And of course, around the outside of this, you want to make sure that not only do you have good content in that challenge that helps give them a particular result. Remember, we're not calling it a challenge, we're calling it based on the result. You need to have that in there. What you also need to make sure you do is remember what this is for. It's for actually getting them to pay for your main service. So we also want to include testimonials and stories and case studies. We also make sure we want emails that are going out to not just during the challenge, but after the challenge as well, to try and convert them into paying clients. And the final thing I want to mention is when it comes to challenges, don't wait to the very end to sell them into something. Sell them into something as soon as possible. You can sell them into something the moment they sign up. You can sell them into something no later than, say, 70% of the way through the challenge. If you leave it too late to start selling something, you're going to lose that momentum, and that momentum is going to be key for the upsell. So that's the key things around actually doing the challenges. With that all said and done, let's go and look at how to go and set one of these up inside PT Distinction. So let's go and open up the screen, and let's take a look. So here we are in PT Distinction. Obviously, I'm sure PT Distinction members and users will be familiar with this on the screen here on the main dashboard. This is our main PT Ninja account. It's a complete test account, loads of fake people and fake clients in here, as you can probably see from all the test stuff on the screen. And I've got lots of stuff already pre-built in here. So just in the interest of time, you've been listening to me ramble on for a while. I've got some of these things pre-built. I'm going to take you through them and see how it looks. I'm going to get these things set up. So the first thing we're going to look at is, the first thing you need to do in here, I should say, is going to be the group structure. So for those of you that maybe don't know, groups inside PT Distinction are probably one of the most powerful tools in there. It's not just about group trading, although you can use it for that. It's a way of grouping things together. You can group content together, messages together, people together, clients together, emails together, content together, pretty much whatever you want. But the beauty about this is you can actually put multiple groups together for clients. And we call that technique group stacking. And the idea is to stack these groups on top of each other, and that creates a particular type of program for your client. It also gives you lots of flexibility to do lots of different things. If you want to learn more about that, again, check out some of the videos I'm going to put around here somewhere on the screen. Check out those videos because I'm going to show you more about how group stacking work and the different ways you can use it for things like habit coaching, more advanced coaching, different workouts, adapting things for clients. So many cool things you can do with groups. But today we're going to use group stacking in a way to actually offer a cohort in a challenge, which means we can sign people up straight away, and then they can all start the main program on a particular day, no matter what day they sign up. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So in order to go and do that, we need to have two groups. We're going to have a challenge welcome group, and we're going to go and have a challenge content group. Now, the important thing to remember here as well is that clients, unless you tell them, or unless you switch on group chat, which we're actually going to use today, then they will not know they're part of any particular group, which is the cool thing about this feature. So let's go and take a look at the first group, which is going to be a welcome group. Now, to add a group, you want to go into the group section in PT Distinction. And once you're in the group section in PT Distinction, what you need to do is go and click add to go and add a group, just like so, and just pop the name in, and the group is set up. Now, for the interest of time, I have one of these ready on here. You can see we have this one. We have a PT Distinction welcome group just for our challenge. Keep it nice and simple, I've just called it challenge. So when we're in the dashboard here, very simply, all we're actually going to do is have a few things up on the schedule. So we're going to go into the schedule, and we're going to do everything by days after joining. There's always two options in groups: calendar date and days after joining. 99% of the time, whenever you're doing stuff in groups, you will do things by days after joining, purely just because it means you can reuse it again. If you start doing things by date and the date is passed, then the date's passed, which means they won't get notifications, they won't see it, all those kind of things. So we're going to use the days after joining option. And in here, you can see we have an email that's going to go out, and we have a welcome document. And that's pretty much it on the schedule, because the schedule really is just about giving notifications through. And all these things here are set to go out on joining, which basically just means it's going to appear in their account the moment they sign up. So it doesn't matter whether they sign up at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, it will appear in their account then, and they'll get the notification through. Now, those are some items that have been set up. We can find those items down here in the coaching area. And this is basically what you want to be setting up in this. All you really want in the welcome group is, first of all, some kind of document to explain what's going to happen. So I'm going to click on that and open it up. So you'll notice a few little things. In this example, I've just put on here, the challenge will begin on Monday. If your challenge is going to begin on a very specific date, then put the date in there. And what you'll find is every time you run a challenge, you'll just come back into this group and you can update the date in this document. Again, the beauty about groups is that you can do updates, and it'll only update for new people that are signing up if you want it to, as well as existing members. You can pick and choose all this stuff with PT Distinction. So you can very easily come in here, just change the date in there, and then that'll be for the new date for the new challenge in the future. Very, very cool feature. So at the moment, I've just got Monday inside here, but that might be the date that is going to, depending on what your time scale is and stuff for your challenges and marketing it and so on. But all the details in there, what I need them to do to get started. So get here, instead of actually adding things to the schedule, such as forms and things like that, I kind of want them before the challenge to get used to using the app and navigating around. So I'm actually telling them where to go. So more than adding things to the schedule and overwhelming them with stuff, very simple document, telling them to go to the logbook and to the forms, showing them where that is, because by doing so, it means that actually, they can navigate around the app, they get used to where things are and so on. Also get them to do some tracking and stuff in here too. That's already pre-set up so they can record some results. So they're getting used to the idea of recording results as well. And it's starting to give you some data to get started with. It also explains how the app works. Now, down here at the bottom, there's two little things I've added into it. These are optional depending on how you want to go about this. So one option is to have a call involved. Now, you can call it a coaching call, you can call it a strategy call, you can call it whatever you want to. This is particularly useful if you have a sales process that involves speaking to people. As in, you want to have sales calls with people before you sign them up, or a triage call, or whatever you want to go and call it. If that's the case, put the details in here. And as I mentioned, make the offer at the start. We want to start making sales now. Like, we want to get there as quick as possible while this momentum's going, while they're excited. So give them the opportunity to book the call here. Because if they book the call here, and this is a 10-day challenge in this example, and we've got a bit of a waiting time before it starts. So say we might have 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before it starts. They should be able to book in for a call during that time. So we've still got momentum. They're still getting involved with stuff. And we're not losing any momentum after the challenge is done when they're on a bit of a down. We're still on a high. So try and get those calls booked in at this stage if you can. The next thing to then go and do is look at building a community group around here. The reason you want to start building a community group around this challenge is because we're going to do things in the group format. We want to have a place where we can stream to people or get them on live calls to offer help and support. And if they've got questions, they can ask questions in there. So on this example here, I've got a Facebook group. Like I said, I've just got an image down here. They can click on it. They can go into a Facebook group. It might be that your ideal clients don't use Facebook, or you don't want to use Facebook for it. That's fine. What you can also do is you can use a group chat within PT Distinction, which we're going to go and set up in a moment. So I'm going to show you how to go and do that. If you're going to use the group chat, just change that in here and say, hey, if you want to get involved, make sure you come and say hello in our group chat. Just head over to whatever you're going to call the group chat and just write that in there instead. So we're making sure that we have absolute clarity on what's going to happen. So we have clarity on the start date, so they know what to go and expect. We've got some basic tasks to do, the important forms. We get them to start tracking the results now so they understand where they're at. We tell them exactly how things are going to work and where they're going to go and find them all when things get started. We're giving them the opportunity to go and book in for a coaching call, strategy call, whatever you want to call it, if that's the way you're offering it. And we're also introducing them to our community group as well, so they know where to get involved. The beauty about using a community group as well is we can build up hype. So it doesn't matter whether it's a week until they start or a day until they start. That group can have some hype in there. People can talk to each other and get involved with each other. You can post in there too. And if you're using the group chat, I'm going to show you how to automate that as well in a moment. Or, of course, you can just post in like a Facebook group, school group, whatever it is you want to be, and keeping that hype going. Remember, the purpose of this is to help sell them into paying clients. So that's that setup in here. And the other thing we need to do, of course, is in the communication section, we need to have a welcome email that goes out to them in here. Again, just introducing it all, explaining what's going to happen, giving them all the login details down here. Another option to go and book in for a call, tell them to go and check out that welcome document, tell them what the starting date is or day, depending on how you're going to do it. And if you're using a Facebook group, again, make sure you mention it inside here as well. So we're getting them from two areas. We encourage them to go and log into the app and do all this stuff, but we're also explaining what's going to happen, adding in that extra clarity. Really important that. So that's all set up inside there. Again, feel free to edit these things. If you're going to do different dates and times, make sure you edit the dates and times in the email as well as the text document too. So that's the welcome group done. The next thing we want to go and set up is our actual challenge content group. So again, I'm just going to use a search here instead. We're going to go and open up a challenge content group. Let's go for this one here. So I've got a few different ones you can see here, which is actually from our white label library, which is what you get access to if you was to join the Peak Ninja Academy. So inside here, we have this challenge content that's set up. This time we're going to go to schedule days after joining. You can see there's quite a bit of content, emails that are drip feeding out. You'll notice day 0, it mentions we start tomorrow. And that's because what we don't want to do is just start it on the date without any kind of warning. We want to be able to let them know that, oh, we're about to start tomorrow. So we can do that through our group as well. I'll show it at the moment, but we can also do that through an email, through messaging within the app too. So what I'm doing here is starting day 0 as the first day of this group. And again, that's one of the beauties about groups. When we add clients to groups, we have these days after joining, and it's the number of days that have passed after being added to that particular group. So when someone signs up, they'll get added to that welcome group. But what can then actually happen is on, say, that date, they'll be added to this group all automatically, shared set up. And then day 0 will be that first day. And it'll say, we're going to start tomorrow. So what we'll do is, let's say if they're going to start on the Monday, we'd actually have this group to start on the Sunday before that Monday. So everything happens automatically from there. And you can see all this content that's drip fed out here. Again, very simple, very basic stuff. You don't want to overcomplicate it here. What you include in this will be very much dependent on your niche, your market, how you want to go and do stuff. I'll give you some examples here. We've got some goal setting down here as well about why this is important. I do think this is an important thing to include into programs. The more you understand about why they're actually there in the first place, the more likely to actually complete the program because they're thinking about it, they're actively making decisions and thinking about writing it down. But also it tells you lots of information. So if they were to get on a call with you or you try to upsell them or anything like that, you have all that data to use to help with that sales process. It's also really good data for even if they don't sign up, because you can use that within your sales copy, your content, your marketing, everything. Loads of cool things there. Next thing we're going to have is the let's talk about food. We've just got a little information there about the food and nutrition side of it. We're just using a very simple text document in this example here with just some different options and tasks for them to go and do. Give them a challenge nutrition guide. Again, there's some very basic stuff here, hand portions, stuff you've all probably seen before. We're then going to get some challenge workouts in there. We've got some in-app messages going out. Again, lots of interaction and stuff going on. Now, you'll also notice as well, we have these today's challenges scattered around, just like so. But these have been messages that go out and talk about different challenges. This one here is linked to a Facebook group, so they can go through the group and they can have a particular challenge. This also can be through that group chat if you wanted to use a group chat feature in here. Again, doesn't matter which way around to do it. Now, the whole point of those is, again, to add a little bit of connection. So all this stuff here is kind of a curriculum that you see on the screen. It's a curriculum that goes out over the space of 10 days in this example here, along with follow-up emails and so on. So what we want to do is have the majority of people going through that. But there are going to be a number of points where you're going to have some live events, as I've mentioned already, to help build up that extra relationship with these leads. So what we can do on these live events is we can do them within like the Facebook groups or the school groups or within the group chat within PT Distinction. And it allows us to build up more with them. And we can do that by setting them smaller challenges and whatever else you really want to really offer help and support and things like that. I'd always recommend you have some mini challenges. And because you're going to be running these kind of like 4, 5, 6 times a year, those mini challenges can be specific to what that actual challenge is about. So if it's a certain time of year, you can make a very specific challenge around that. And for example, it's the summer, let's maybe get them to go and walk, get some extra steps in. If it's the winter, maybe we could have some at-home workouts they can do to squeeze in before they wake up, before they start their day. Whatever it is, you can just come up with some different ones depending on what it is. And it also means you can offer these challenges to the same leads again and again if they didn't sign up, because they are going to be slightly different each time. So it's a really cool way of doing it. Again, helps build that relationship with them. So you want to make sure the content, again, you've got plenty of content inside here. You've got some workouts and stuff that they're going to get access to, explaining it, adding clarity about how it all works and how the workouts and stuff work with them, how to record stuff. We're going to have some coaching items in here as well, nutrition guides, workouts, exercises, some tips, and all those kind of things can go in there. Again, why it's important form, understanding what their goals are, very useful tools I mentioned already. You can add the habits in there, you can add track in there if you want to, you can add in whatever you want really for it. And then, of course, in the communication section over here, we have the emails and sequences that are going to go out to them. So these emails and sequences, some will go out during the challenge, some will go out after the challenge. You'll see here we have like stories and something for you and upsells and all sorts of different things. Within here as well, we have things like testimonials. So for example, down here, a story for you, you can actually tell a story from a testimonial from your client and share that in here. So it is important that you really entwine your experience into these challenges, because again, we're trying to use it to upsell for people. So you want to have this kind of sequence all set up in there and ready to go. Once you've got those groups and stuff set up in there, the next thing you can do is, if you're going to go and have a group chat, is set up your group chat. Now to go and set up a group chat, really quite simple. We're going to go into the group section over here. And then in the group section, we're going to go and click the add button. And then we can go and create a group for that particular chat. So we're going to hit the add button over here. And I'm just going to call this one, again, call it whatever you want to. I'm just going to call this a challenge chat, but you can obviously name it whatever you want to, probably your business name, challenge name, whatever you want it to be. Something that's unique to this challenge as well was a good idea. So click add, create the challenge chat. Now, this is the only time your clients will see the group name. The only time they'll see a group name is when you do something like this. So make sure it's something that's going to make sense for them when they click on it, more than just sense for you. It's got to make sense for them when they're ready to go. So once you're in here, you've got challenge chat set up, you can click on the little bubble at the bottom corner. You can go into groups if you want to, or you can just search at the top, type in challenge chat, and it'll open up. And then down here, looking for this little item and toggling on the two-way messaging for that group chat. So it switches on the group chat. So now people will be able to go in here and be able to send messages, and it'll work like a group chat on WhatsApp, Facebook, that kind of thing, where everyone can see each other's messages and reply back to each other, and they'll all see each other's replies and so on. So you can do all that in there. And then once that's done, the beauty about this again is, because it is a group chat, you can go into the communication section. Here you can actually schedule out communications to go out to them, some in-app messages within that group. So all you need to do is come into here, switch that into group conversation, and then on the schedule, just make sure you choose dates when you're doing this. Like, you have to do everything by date in a group chat, because obviously people join at different times. You can set all these out however you want to set them out. So let's say if it's once only, make sure you just choose a date option. And then down here, you can have this date set and the time set. And that message can automatically go out from those dates and times. So you can automatically set up, oh, we're starting tomorrow, or we've got this event coming up, or whatever you want is to build hype up, you can do that. So I think it's a real cool way of really building up hype around this too. And of course, you can just send direct messages straight away as well, directly from your app if you want to, into that group chat, talk to each other, all that kind of stuff. So you can get a group chat set up. So once we've got those groups and stuff set up, we need to find a way of delivering this to your clients. So in order to go and deliver it to your clients, we're going to go up into the burger menu in the top corner, and we're going to head down to packages. And packages are just a way of automating the delivery of this stuff. So once you're inside here, if you're going to use a payment option, make sure you go and do your Stripe setup. So click on Stripe setup and just follow the on-screen instructions to connect all that together. And then what we can do is go and set up the package. So to add a package, you're just going to click the add package button in the top corner and just follow the on-screen instructions. I'm going to give it a name, so I'm just going to go and call this the challenge, just because it's easier. So like so. I'm going to get next. And then this is where we're going to add in the group. So we have to do a very specific group setup here. So the first thing I'm going to do is add in our welcome group. So let's go and find our welcome group here, challenge welcome group, and we're going to add that in now and make sure we copy into content. Then I'm going to add another group in, and this time we're going to go down, we're going to add in our challenge chat, because we want them into our challenge chat straight away. So let's go and find that in here. There you go. And then next thing we're going to do is click the add another group, hit the drop down menu, and then we're going to come down here, we're going to add in the challenge content. Now this time we're going to hit the drop down menu here, and we're going to choose either on day or on date. So in the example I've got here, we're using Monday, and I mentioned that we're going to go and start this on the day before, so on the Sunday. So if I was doing it in my example, I'd use the day option and I'd hit Sunday. And that means day 0 of that challenge content group is going to start on the first Sunday. It's going to say, hey, we're starting tomorrow. And then Monday will be the day they actually start doing all the stuff for the challenge. So that's fine. We can do it that way. If you wanted to do this by date instead, you just choose the date option. So go date. And we say, right, let's say we're going to start this on Monday the 16th. That's when I want to start. So I'm going to set this the day before because I've got those emails and messages going out. So I'm going to go on the 15th on here. So that's already pre-set up. And I'm going to go and hit next. Now, at this point, it's going to ask me to go remove groups. For this example, we don't need to do much with this. However, if you're using something like the Super System, for example, that we use over at PT Ninja and in the Academy and the Done For You service, then you'll want to put in any things you have set up beforehand. So, for example, you may have a lead magnet running through here. One of the things we help set up as part of the Done For You service is a 5-day mini-series lead magnet to help convert leads that you would offer these challenges to. And we actually show you how to offer these challenges to people automatically with inside PT Distinction. Because what you can also do with PT Distinction and groups is almost create like a CRM, a customer relationship management system. So you can simply go to a lead magnet group. And if you do what I'm about to show you here, you can have it set up so if someone signs up to your lead magnet and then doesn't purchase either a challenge or your flagship program or membership or whatever, it will leave them in that particular group as an offline client, which means you can still message them, you can still email them and follow up and things like that. They just won't have access to the app. They won't count towards your quota in PTD or anything like that. But you can still message them, which means we know that anyone that's in that group is somebody who hasn't yet purchased from you. So we can offer them things like these challenges and sales page through to them, all that kind of stuff. Now, in order for that to work properly, we need to make sure the system automatically removes them from that group if they sign up to a particular program. So in that case, we can go on here and we can say, actually, I want to go and remove them from our 5-day lead magnet or this lead magnet here, just like so, or anything else we want to remove them from. So I'm going to automate that here. Click next. Now, if we're going to do a price point, it could just be one-off price point. If it's free, just go for no payment. If it's a one-off price point, let's say it's going to be $27, or let's do $7 actually. Nice cheap one, just like so. And then we can. I'm just going to go GPT. So hit next. Takes on to our settings. A few little settings you need to do in here. I won't bother with phone numbers unless you want to ring them. I've allowed them to choose their own time zone. I think that's a decent one to do. There's a gender preset here. If you want them to select either male or female, leave it like this. If you're working with a specific type of client, pick the one that you want to go for. If your clients don't identify male or female, or you don't want to have these options on here, then just pick one. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Just bear in mind that this here is purely just for the built-in body fat percentage calculator in the PT Distinction software. All known formulas require them to let them know whether they're biologically male or female. That's it. There's no other way of actually working that out. There's no formulas that exist at the moment to do anything different. So that's why that has to be on there. If you pick one, it will disappear from the formula when asking them that question. And there's no reference to which one you picked at any point within the software, in the app, or anything like that. You can change it, but the client will have no idea what you picked. So just pick one. It doesn't really matter which one it is. Incomplete signups, leave that as it is for now. But I do want to quickly explain something to you. I mentioned that within PT Distinction, you can actually have quite a few things set up. You could use it like a CRM. So one of the things that I would do if this was, say, part of the Done For You service and we're setting this up for you is we create an abandoned cart sequence. So what we'd actually end up doing is switching this on here if we use it as a paid service. And I'm going to add them into the abandoned cart group. So we've got one down here, for example. And what that basically means is when someone comes onto this, they'll fill in the form. If their payment fails or they bail at the last second without paying, we've already captured their email address. So that means what we can do is we can actually automatically add them in as an offline client, add them to that abandoned cart group, which has an email sequence that's set up to bring them back to your sign-up page, where they can then go and pay and sign up again, all completely automated. So you could use that in there if you wanted to. But I'm not going into too much detail about that. I'll fully explain what it is. Duration, we're then going to make them inactive after a certain amount of time. I'll just go for however long the challenge is going to be. So I'm just going to go for 3 weeks. So they've got a bit of leeway as well. So obviously got a week signing up and say 10 days doing the challenge. Don't worry about grace period. That's to do with subscriptions, messaging. We're going to have two-way on because we've got a group chat switched up, which is perfect. And then down here, we're going to switch off login details because you remember in the welcome email we had set, welcome.group we had set up, we had the emails in there too, already pre-built. We're going to hit save to save that. That's that package set up. Now, at this point here, if you don't have a website, you can just copy this link here and you can send it to them. You can even put it behind like Bitly or shorten the URL or something like that if you want to make a shorter one. However, what I would recommend you do is always try and integrate this and build this out on the website. Again, when we do the Done For You service for PT Distinction members, we actually build out these things for you. We build out all the landing pages, the sales copy, the branding, everything. We do all these integrations. So what I recommend you do is actually have a sales page set up for your challenge. And then what you can do on here is take this code You can embed that code directly onto the sales page. And what it does is create a form that allows the client to then go and sign up and pay for that particular service. And you can see a summary of those details down here. Now, for this example, I'm actually just going to use this direct link more than putting it onto a sales page, onto a website. I'm going to go and open the incognito tab, just like so. Now, what I want to actually do here is come back over this way. I'm going to go onto the three dots and click edit. And I'm going to go into sales. And I'm going to do this just so I can show you how this works. I'm going to switch this to no payment. I'm going to go and hit save on here. Now, because I've hit save, I can go on here. I can go refresh this. And I can now sign in without actually having any payment to go in. So let's go do a test client. So I'm going to do an Ash test, test plus challenge, some numbers at ptdninja.com. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, super secure, 6. I'm not a robot, and we're going to go and log in. Oh, make sure I've got a right email address here, no space. There we go. So that's going to go for the package, going to trigger the package. If we was taking payment, it will take payment at that point as well, but we haven't. So we're going to go back in here. And now if I go to my clients, we can actually see what's happened inside PT Distinction. So we can go into here and I can go and type, I can go down to client. I'm going to filter this down to last date added. There's my test client. We're going to click on that and open it up. And we're going to go into the account and see what's happened. So over here, if we go to the group section in the top corner, we can see we have the challenge chat that's set up, the welcome group that's in, and this group here is pending to start on the 15th of June. So that will happen all automatically. Now, of course, you can come in here, you can override any of this just by deleting it and then re-adding it again at whatever dates and times you wanted to. That's completely fine if you want to override any of that stuff. But you can see how everything's now all automatically happened for them. I'm inside the group chat, all that kind of stuff. It's already pre-done, ready to go. So all completely automated. Now, the beauty about this kind of setup as well is that if I again want to do another challenge in the future, once I've gone past the 15th of June and people signed up, all I need to do is head back into my pre-made packages. And I can just go and edit things in the package really quickly. So let's say if my next challenge is going to be in a few months' time, I can open up the challenge package, click edit, come down to groups, and then go down to my last group here with the date and just change that for the next one. So let's say if I want to do that in September and I want it to be on the 8th of September, so I'm going to start it on the 7th from there and hit save. So now that's already updated. All I need to do now is just go and edit the sales copy of my sales page, maybe change the start dates on it. And of course, if you're using dates within the documents in the group, just go in there, edit the dates in the documents. When you're editing dates in the documents, I'll just quickly show you this just so you're aware. Let's go into one, because this is where they'll be. You'll edit things like the emails and the welcome documents in here. When you go to edit those, all you need to do is click on the coaching item, click on the edit inside here, and then you can make the change to whatever date you want it to be on here. So change that to whatever day you want it to be. And once you've made your changes in here, just like so, you've got a box at the top that says update changes for all members. Make sure that's unchecked, and then click save. If that is unchecked and you hit save, that will only update for new people signing up. So it won't affect it for any existing members that already have access to that document in there. And that's pretty much how you run and set up a challenge inside PT Distinction, and just my thoughts on really what I'd include in the challenge and so on when it comes to running them. Anyway, I hope that has been a useful video. I hope that's giving you some insight into how a challenge might be used, some things to go and think about, and how you can go and set one up inside PT Distinction. As always with these things, if you're interested in having something like this set up for you, or if you want to have this completely customized and designed for your business as well, along with having things like a lead magnet set up for you, having your main flagship program, including all the coaching, content, workouts, programs, and a membership program that runs for 12 years, again, content, programs, everything you actually need, as well as all your sales pages, set up landing pages. In fact, having a full automated system that you can adapt and adjust within a few seconds per client to customize it, then definitely come and check out what we do over at PT the Ninja, specifically the Gold Done For You service. And if you want any extra help and support with building, launching, and growing a successful online fitness business using PT Distinction, and you want access to all this content, resources, all the training of how to go and set this up step by step in your account, come and find out more about the PT Ninja Academy as well. Anyway, that's it from me. If you've enjoyed this video, if you find it useful, please do give it a like. It really does help make this video reach more people. And if you're interested in more videos that I'm going to put out every single week, make sure you subscribe as well and turn the notification bell so you get notified. That's it from me. Any questions whatsoever, do let us know in the comments. I shall put details around this video as well for the Gold Done For You service and the Academy too, if you need it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at the next episode.